Throughout the years, Mario Kart has given us an incredible lineup of colorful and iconic characters. From the beloved plumbers Mario and Luigi to the fierce Princess Peach, the cast of Mario Kart always include the best of the best. Well, that's actually debatable, as usually there's that one character or two that leaves fans scratching their heads as to why they were included. These characters are some that stand out as the quirkiest, the most unexpected, and sometimes even downright bizarre additions to the roster. Hey Internet, I'm Bryse, and in this video, I'm going to be looking at the weirdest character featured in every mainline Mario Kart title, which means that the arcade Mario Kart titles will not be included, due to that whole cast practically being bizarre. After you watch the video, be sure to let me know who you think was the weirdest character in every Mario Kart game in the comments below. And if you like what you see here today, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, as we are currently on the path to 2,000 subscribers. Your support to the channel is much appreciated and does not go unnoticed. We're going to start this list off with the very first entry in the series, Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart featured 8 playable characters, and when you look at the roster today, none of them seem out of place. We have the Mario Brothers, Peach, Bowser, Toad, Yoshi, Koopa, DK. Wait, DK Jr.? What? I guess when you really look at it, DK Jr. wasn't such an odd choice when this game came out in 1992. DK Jr. was almost seen more frequently than Donkey Kong himself, appearing in his own set of Donkey Kong Jr. games. However, personally, I think adding Donkey Kong himself over Donkey Kong Jr. would have made more sense here, as Donkey Kong was more recognizable to the average player. One could argue that Koopa Troopa could give DK Jr. a run for his money as the weirdest character in the game, as Super Mario Kart marked the first time a Koopa Troopa was ever playable. But the fact that Koopas are so recognizable and iconic enough in the Mario series at the point of Super Mario Kart's release gave them an edge over DK Jr. Next, I'm combining both Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart Super Circuit due to the fact of them sharing the same cast of playable characters. Just like Super Mario Kart, we have 8 playable characters to choose from. The cast is essentially the same as Super Mario Kart, except now Koopa has been replaced by Wario, and DK Jr. has been replaced with Donkey Kong. Which, when you really think about it, the DK Jr. from that era grew up to be the Donkey Kong from the N64 era, so really it's the same character, which would mean Donkey Kong is the weirdest character in the game by default, right? That was a lot of words. But yes, the award for the weirdest character from these set of games would have to go to Donkey Kong, unfortunately. Now, the idea of Donkey Kong being playable in these games is not odd in theory, and he honestly makes a lot of sense to be playable as he has the longest history with the Italian plumber himself. But after their arcade days, Mario and Donkey Kong weren't seen together as often as some of the other playable characters here. Now, one could argue that Wario was the oddest character choice here, as he'd only been around since Super Mario Land 2, which had only come out 4 years prior to Mario Kart 64's release. But Wario was seen quite frequently in the Mario universe during those 4 years, appearing in such games as Mario vs. Wario and the Super Mario Land 2 spin-off, Wario Land Super Mario Bros. 3. Although Donkey Kong was also appearing in his own set of games, they were not associated in any way with the Mario series, such as the Donkey Kong Country series. And of course, you probably already know that Donkey Kong wasn't even originally planned to be in Mario Kart 64, and instead, he later replaced Kamek, who definitely would have been the weirdest character in Mario Kart 64 if he remained in the game. Moving over to Mario Kart Double Dash, we now have a lot more characters to look at. The 8 from the previous 2 entries return, as well as Koopa Troopa from Super Mario Kart, with the additions of Daisy, Birdo, both Baby Mario and Luigi, Toadette, Paratroopa, Diddy Kong, Bowser Jr., Waluigi, Petey Piranha, and King Boo. Back in 2003 when this game released, a lot of these additions, such as Daisy, Birdo, Baby Mario, and Waluigi, made a lot of sense, as they were being featured more regularly in Mario spin-off titles. Diddy Kong was an established character in the Donkey Kong franchise, and starting with Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, was starting to appear in Mario spin-off titles. The 3 GameCube-era created characters, Bowser Jr., Petey Piranha, and King Boo, you'd think would be the weirdest picks, as they were still new characters, and players may have no idea who they were. But with Bowser Jr. and Petey Piranha both debuting in the main Mario game of the console, Super Mario Sunshine, as well as becoming playable characters for the first time in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, that really only leaves King Boo as the weirdest character, right? King Boo made his debut in Luigi's Mansion as the main antagonist and made a brief appearance in Super Mario Sunshine as a boss. But there's actually one character who has him beat for their obscurity. Cute Toadette, the character that made their debut in Mario Kart Double Dash just so Toad would have a racing partner. Toadette would later go on to be a mainstay in the Mario series, but at this point she was just some random addition that nobody knew. Now this won't be the last time that a Mario Kart game has created a brand new character just to fill the roster, but we'll get into that later. From double the drivers to double the screens, the roster of Mario Kart DS was nearly cut in half, mainly due to the hardware limitations of the DS. Once again using Mario Kart 64's roster as a starting point, we see the return of Daisy and Waluigi from Double Dash, as well as two new additions to the series, being Dry Bones and a robot? Okay, do I even need to justify this pick? The robotic operating buddy makes a downright bizarre appearance as a playable character in Mario Kart DS, marking the first time a non-Mario related character is playable in a Mario Kart game, a trend that would be brought back in future installments. The only idea I can think of as to why they added R.O.B was to get players familiar with the character before his appearance a few years later in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. As much as an out-of-left-field character that R.O.B is in Mario Kart, I honestly really liked it. It was different, and different can be a good thing. Mario Kart Wii is regarded by many as their favorite entry in the Mario Kart series, and one of the many reasons for this is the solid lineup of playable characters. Mario Kart Wii brought back the entire cast of Double Dash, minus Paratroopa and Petey Piranha, and added a slew of fun new additions like Rosalina, Funky Kong, Baby Peach. With 24 playable characters, or 26 if you count the Miis, I have to agree that Mario Kart Wii does have an all-star cast. There's only about 4 characters that I think could fall in the category of weird additions. The skeletal version of Bowser, Dry Bowser, was an out-there choice, but due to the popularity of New Super Mario Bros. On the DS 2 years prior, it makes sense that they wanted to add some character representation from that game, and Dry Bowser does look pretty cool. Baby Peach makes some sense as well, as she had recently appeared in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, and this was around the time that they started adding Mario and Peach clones to the roster. Funky Kong was a wild addition, as this marked Funky's first appearance outside the Donkey Kong series. The only reason I can think of as to why they didn't pick a more main character like Dixie or Cranky is due to them having difficulty filling out the large character slots. But in the end, and as much as I love her adult counterpart, I have to say that Baby Daisy is the weirdest character in Mario Kart Wii. Like Toadette and Double Dash, Baby Daisy was created specifically for Mario Kart Wii. Unlike Daisy, whose personality is drastically different than Peach's, Baby Peach and Baby Daisy are essentially the same character, with Baby Daisy just sporting different colors. She doesn't add anything to the game, and swapping her out with any lightweight newcomer driver like Egad, for example, would have made much more sense, as he was and still is a fan favorite character. Finishing up the handheld entries, we have Mario Kart 7, and boy oh boy, where do I even begin with this roster? Although only having 17 characters this time, we have some of the most bizarre characters from the Mario universe. Although things may seem normal with the 8 starting characters, as well as Daisy, Wario, Rosalina, and the Mii, things quickly fall off the rails with the last 5. Starting with the least bizarre, and the character who has the racetrack set in one, Shy Guy makes the most sense here as he is an iconic Mario enemy and technically appeared as a playable character in Mario Kart DS in the game's download play mode. Lakitu is another character who actually makes some sense, as he has appeared in every Mario Kart game, but not as a playable character, but as the handy countdown guy who will also save you when you fall off the track. A playable Lakitu is a fun addition here. Metal Mario is just a Mario clone who's in the heavyweight class instead of the medium. His addition was odd, but when it comes down to these next two, Metal Mario is very normal. Although Wiggler had appeared in numerous Mario games up to this point, and even had a playable appearance in Mario Power Tennis, its inclusion in Mario Kart 7 was mind-boggling. It's just insane that with 16 slots set for fan-favorite Mario characters, they decided Wiggler would be a good addition over characters like Waluigi. But even more crazy than this is how one of these very few slots went to a freaking bee. A bee! Queen Bee, now renamed Honey Queen from the Super Mario Galaxy games, is for whatever reason a playable character in Mario Kart 7. Why?
Why?
It can't be because they wanted to add some more representation from the Galaxy games, because Honey Queen barely appears in both games, only appearing in one galaxy in each. A Luma would have been a much more sensible addition here, or even Lubba from Super Mario Galaxy 2 if they needed heavy racers. But no, instead we're graced with a creepy bee lady, who looks even creepier with the 3D setting turned on with her wings flapping. One thing I will say though, I'd rather the developers do this instead of creating stupid characters out of nowhere just to fill the roster. Oh look, a stupid character! As we move on to Mario Kart 8, we'll see odd additions left and right. Although many fan favorites return, including Waluigi, many were omitted in the Wii U version, like Birdo and Diddy Kong in favor of all 7 Koopalings who have a spot. Really? Was that necessary? The answer is no, by the way. As annoying as it is that the Koopalings are here, they had appeared in enough games at this point to warrant them over these other 2 new additions to the Mario series debuting in this game, Baby Rosalina and Pink, Gold, Peach. Both characters were extremely lazy, and the creation of Baby Rosalina may have even totally thrown away Rosalina's cool backstory from Galaxy 1. But Pink Gold Peach has to take the crown for the weirdest here. This is just the Peach version of Metal Mario, except pink, and gold for some reason. Whoever was behind the creation of these 2 characters, I hope you got a long time out after this, because additions like this are just pathetic. Even Link, a non-Mario character, fits in here a lot more than these rejects. I'm going to quickly discuss 8 Deluxe here, since there's only a few extra characters added to this version of the game, with more coming in the final wave of the Booster Course Pass. I'm only including characters who are new to this version. You're welcome, Pink Gold Puke. In order to save time here, I'm just gonna cut to the chase and give the award to the weirdest character in 8 Deluxe to the Inklings. I use the term weird here loosely, as although these may be non-Mario related characters, they do sort of fit in their own way. It's just when you're comparing them to other characters like Bowser Jr., King Boo, and the Booster Course Pass DLC characters, they do stand out as weirder additions to the roster. Sorry Inklings, but at least you look cool. Finally, we're at the last entry, Mario Kart Tour. Whew, thanks for sticking with me for this long. Don't worry, this shouldn't take too long, right? I mean, how many characters can a mobile game really have? 253? Ah! Okay, to save me the remaining part of my sanity, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and exclude any costume-related characters, which cuts the roster down to about half. Mario Kart Tour, despite its problems, has a phenomenal roster of returning and new drivers. Almost every character who's been playable previously returns, as well as newcomers like Kamek, Hammer Bro, Pauline, and more. A lot of the newcomers make sense, but there's one I think that's barking up the wrong tree here, and that's Poochy, originally from the Yoshi's Island series. Even if he's made small cameos in Mario games like Super Mario Odyssey, the obscurity of Poochy makes for a weird racer in Mario Kart Tour, even with its enormous roster. I'm not mad about this inclusion though. I just want to know why they decided to add him, and I'm curious for the reasoning. Poochy is a good example of how, although they may be a weird addition to the roster, he is by no means a bad character. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, be sure to hit the like, smash that subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified when I upload future videos. Once again, I'm Bryse, and I will see you in the next one.